Alright, so I think this is a good spot to start with our last game that we completed. So, right here, on my move, I'm going to bring my queen here. That is going to do, and I'll just move it forward, it's going to do two things. It's going to attack your bishop while checking your king. So this is called a fork. So on the move after that, you moved your king up, I proceeded to take your bishop. So then on your move, you made a good move and using your knight to attack this bishop, or this, wow, not bishop, this pawn. So by doing that, you're doing two things. You are attacking my king and attacking my rook, which is great. This is a knight fork. So on my next move, I take my king and move it here because I want to get this knight out the way. This knight is in my vicinity. I don't like that. You don't cause trouble. We don't want no problems, but we will bring it to you if you want it. So that's why I move my king up there. So now what you did, which surprised me, but I think I understand why you did that. I think you were looking at this. Oops. You were looking at this. You're going to get that pawn out the way, and then you're going to move your knight out the way, maybe here or here, or you can threat a mine, rook again, or you're just going to move it there or there. Oh, actually, this would have been good a square to move it, because then it's a check. I have to move my king somewhere, and then your knight could just take my queen. So I'm assuming that's what you had planned when you decided to go for that instead of taking this rook. So, and you can let me know after you watch this video if that was your plan. But you took the pawn. So in that case, I decided, well, okay, well, let me put her in check again. So my idea, same thing as last time. I'm going here so I can attack your king and threaten your rook. Now, of course, unless you went back here, your queen is protecting this rook, which is like which is fine. So it's more so to put you in check and try to get your king, out in the open, because the open is where the king is the most vulnerable. So you decide to go back, which for me, I take your rook, and instead of taking this, the reason I would take that is because your queen is not protecting that. So I'm going for the more powerful piece, which is the rook. So same strategy. It's like, okay, you're in check, and the reason, okay, so you move forward, which is what you have to do. So, and it's also good that your king is, darn it, I get used to that one day. It's also good that your king moves close to this pawn so it can protect the pawn. It's not that the pawn is important, but it's more important that your pieces are protected when you can get them protected and when they need to be protected. When they need to be. So, in this case, I took your queen. Now, let's go back. The reason I decided to take your queen is because I'm looking at my side of the board and I'm looking at your side of the board. And I can tell I have more pieces. So I haven't counted. I'm going to count right now. So we have 1, 2, you have 5 pawns. 1, 2, 3, and 3 other pieces. So that's 1. I'll get used to this one day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 9 pieces outside your king. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 pieces. So right now it is 11 versus 9. Yeah, 11 versus 9. So by doing this, it's now 11 versus 8. And once you take back, it's 10 versus 8. And then I am now going to do that, which makes it 10 versus 7. So it's like, okay, I'm already at a piece advantage. I have a lot of, so there's, so the knights and bishops are minor pieces. The rooks and queens are major pieces. So I have 3 minor pieces to your 1 minor piece, and I have 2 major pieces versus your 1 major piece. So right now I'm in a pretty good position. I have I have 6 pawns to your 5 pawns. The pawns are essentially even right now. Okay, so let's continue. So now what I want to do is I want to get some of my minor pieces into play. Okay, so you brought your bishop out, which was good. That way you can get your rook out to the center of the board once you move your king out the way. I put my bishop on that square because what I want to do is I want my bishop to attack your bishop. I want to make this 10 versus 7. What is it? 9 versus 6. Okay, I know that's ugly. Don't mind that. But the bigger point is I want to keep this piece advantage I have going. And I also want to use this piece, so I would need to get your piece out the way. If I get your piece out the way, I have other pieces I can use to give you an advantage. For instance, say these bishops were out the way, right? I have these 3 pawns here, and you have your 2 pawns here. I can start to march these pawns up the board, and eventually get to a situation where this pawn will meet this pawn. You can either take, and if you do, I will probably take back, and that'll put a pawn for me right there, where I'll be a couple squares where I can march up and get a queen. So that would be good for me. You have the same situation on this side of the board. It wouldn't be a difference. Well, I guess right now the only difference is that we have a rook in play on both sides. So that rook would kind of change things a little bit. If those rooks weren't there, you have 3 versus 2. And you would try to do the same idea. March pawns this way. That way you can get one of those pawns to become a queen. So the queen you lost earlier, you can get right back. So, but let's keep going. So you decided not to take that, which was good, because when you have a few pieces, you want to keep as many pieces as you can. So I played that because, of course, I want to get your bishop off the board. You put your bishop back there. So with this, the powerful squares for bishops, when you can't always do this. It's easier to do this in the beginning when a lot of moves haven't been made. Once you get into the middle game, end game, it becomes a little bit harder because now pieces are kind of scattered along the board. But the most powerful, 2 of the most powerful squares the bishops can be on are these 2 corner squares right there. And it depends on the color, of course. But the reason being is because they control that whole file. So right here, this bishop isn't doing much, right? Because this pawn is here, so this bishop can't. This bishop isn't really attacking anything. It's lightly threatening this pawn. I say lightly threatening because this pawn right here is backed up by this pawn. So this really isn't doing anything unless this bishop wants to make a sacrifice, which in this instance is a bad idea. So you do that. I move my rook from this corner to this open file right here because that's where rooks are powerful on open ranks. So then after that, you move your rook from that corner, trying to do the same idea. Your king is in the way, but you move that out the way. I put my knight there. My knight puts you in check. So the good thing that you did moving up here as opposed to here is that had you moved here, my knight would go here. And wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Let's try that again. Okay. The good thing that you went here instead of here is that my knight could go here, and now you're in double check. You're in check by my rook and knight, and you're gonna have to move your king, so my knight would then come take this bishop, and that bishop will be out the way. So it's good that you moved there. So next, you moved up one, trying to attack my knight. I put my bishop behind there because there's this little technique called the X-ray where, X-ray and discover check. You know, moving one piece out of the way of a piece that can check the piece in front of it is called a discover check. And the X-ray, I guess another term they use is called an X-ray, is when, if this knight was out the way and I put my bishop there, my bishop is attacking this king, but really, it wants that rook. I mean, if it can put the king in check, great, but if not, it really wants that rook. And that was my ideal with going with that. So my next move was to move that knight out the way. So you moved your rook out of there, which was good, because now, which I assume what your strategy is, your rook can attack this pawn and put my king in check. So, which is a good idea. So I decided to move my knight that way to put you in double check. You're in check by the bishop and the knight. Bam, bam. Oops. You did that. And then I decided to get my rook in the game. So this square is officially cut off, otherwise you probably would have went there. This square is cut off, of course. This square is open. That one's open. The rest of this row is cut off because the rook is there. And you can't just take my knight because my knight has been back up by that pawn. So it was either here or here. So, actually, let's go over the advantage quick. So had you gone here, my next move would have been to move this bishop here. And then from there, you would have went there, because you can't take that piece because it's being backed up by this pawn. You can't take my rook because it's being backed up by the knight. You can't take my bishop that is now here because it's being backed up by the rook. You actually could take this pawn because it's not being protected by anything. And that might have crumbled what I had going on here. As in, let's do this. Yeah, so moving here, move my bishop there, you take this pawn. Now my knight right here is in danger because this knight is protecting this and this, had that happened. So, and then I would have had to probably move my knight here just to get it out of danger. So the king would have still been in this open area, but it would be in less danger. And that would have given you a chance to respond and probably make your plans of your own. Because the moment I stop putting you in check, the moment I give you control, is when you gain control. And so, after my knight would have went here to get out of danger, if your king was here, then you could have brought that rook right there. Bam, that's check. My king is in check. I would have had to evaluate, okay, well, what do I want to do here? If your king is still there, I can't just move right here. If your king is still there, let's just say I can't just move right here. So I would be forced to go in this back row somewhere, which would really come down to these 3 squares right there. So, or I can bring this knight here, put you in check. So, but with your rook taking control of this square, with this square, if I were to move my knight here, now this bishop can come back in to get to the game and have some action going here. Actually, take that back. You don't want to do that because my bishop would be there. My bishop would be right here, which is backed up by that rook. And then your bishop, if you go there, it wouldn't be backed up by anything. Okay, so don't do that. Don't listen to me. That was a bad move. Okay, so those were the benefits of going there. So here is less likely. We kind of seen what happened there. So you went there, which let's move this up some, which narrows the king's area to go to. Right? There was only so many different things you could have played. So you could have gone there. You could have gone here, in which I would have responded that, which puts you in check along that diagonal. And this is already cut off because of the rook, so you would have had to go here, here. Yeah, you were stuck between those two moves. So, and then so right, so I did that. I did put you in check there, so seeing that you did go there. Okay. And with going there, your moves are limited to these squares. Now, this square and that square are gone because of that pawn. That square is gone because of not only this pawn, but also this knight. So, and this knight is also taking control of that square. So literally your only move is here. And that's the bad thing about with your king being out in the open, but all around my pieces. Because then I get to start to take advantage and attacking those squares that your king can go to. So, and then I did that because, I have an advantage all around this area where your king is. So I put you in check. You move to the only square you could go to because, again, bishop's cutting off that whole diagonal. My rook is cutting off that. You can't go there because of this knight. So this is literally your only move. And then I go for the kill. My pawn goes there. So, and the way to check to see if you're in checkmate is to see, okay, where can your king go? If the king can't protect itself, if a piece can't block the check, or the king can't take the piece, if the piece can block itself, or another piece can take the piece that's putting the king in check, it's up to the king to get itself out of check. So in order for it to do that, it can take the piece itself, or it can move to another square. So in this case, the king can't take this piece backed up by this pawn, so that's out. The king can't go on a diagonal because of the bishop. The king can't go back in that row because of the rook. The king can't go here because of the knight, and the king is also being attacked by this pawn. That's checkmate. So I hope that cleared up some stuff. This video was a little long, but I hope that explanation gives you a better idea of some different things you can do, what I saw, and hopefully you learned something from that. If you like this video, let me know. I'll make more videos like it. If this was good but you still need a little bit more, just tell me more of what you need and I can put that in action. Yeah, I would love to get your feedback on this because it's only going to help me get better with making more videos like this in the future. So yeah, this is Teach signing out.